Okay, so I thought I'd talk about this new update that they're gonna push out next week. They just announced this earlier today. It says 2 p.m. about. I already saw all the notes on it. It's some pretty interesting changes. A lot of the community's been kind of wanting for a while, including me. I thought of a few of these things that would probably be good for them, like incentives. That's a little spoiler for what we get into, but you've probably already seen these changes, but if you haven't, here they are. First one is they're kind of giving a rework to slugging. The slugging reduction update. If a survivor is left in a dying state for a total of 90 seconds during a match, they gain the ability to pick themselves up after fully recovering. I think that's actually a pretty good change. I mean, most of the time, you know, the only time you'll be on the ground for 90 seconds is if a killer is purposely slugging you on the ground because they don't like you. They're trying to bleed you out or something. So, I mean, at least it gives, you know, some sense of counterplay to that. You know, they can't leave you on the ground that way because you could get yourself up. So if they leave you on the ground, you can pick yourself up. So they're not going to leave you on the ground most of the time. So you can at least die, you know? Like one of those moments, at least grant me death. Well, we've been granted death, so I like that change. It's good. A lot of people do not like it, but this part, the next parts though, kind of unnecessary. I don't really like, but it's not. I don't know. It's just unnecessary. It's too much. Gradually increases crawling speed for survivors who are left in a dying state. It's just not needed. Not really important. This fixes the problem kind of by itself, which the problem was getting bled out the whole match. It's just really awful. You know, you hate the feeling. Second thing, added the ability for survivors to recover while crawling, and then recovery occurs passively with no need to hold the button. I mean, the not having to hold a button thing is probably nice, you know, but the crawling while recovering thing, just not. Like, there's a reason tenacity's a perk. When they add perks base kit, most of the time it makes that perk completely, like, useless as well. So that's why we have perks, because they're strong. This is a strong effect. We don't need this base kit. It's just not needed. They added, like, base kit borrow time, because that was kind of needed. But this, no. Just no. You can kind of see what they look like. Passive recovery while crawling. And then there's that little bar underneath it, which builds up over 90 seconds. And when it gets to the top, you can pick yourself up. It's not automatic, in case you were thinking it might be. You click a button to get yourself up, so... Yep. And then there's this. I already read these, but you can read those if you would like. I'm not going to read them out loud. It's just their thoughts on the matter. But this is the big one. So, tunneling reduction update. When a survivor is hooked, their hook status is hidden from the killer. When they're unhooked, there is no notification and their hook status isn't revealed immediately. So this is one of the changes I was kind of thinking they should make for a while now. Like, tunneling wouldn't be as easy if the killer didn't know when the unhook happened. You know, them being able to tell, oh, well, there's a loud noise notification over there, so they just got unhooked. I'm going to go back. It prevents a lot of those unhook heals, and it prevents them from getting a lot of distance, because it takes 10 seconds for your scratch marks to go away, so the killer can very easily find the person. And so this part, I really like that. And then there's a change a little bit later we'll get to that I really like too, that's similar to that. It's disabled once all generators are completed. I think that's fair. Unhooked survivors gain the following effects for a limited time: haste, endurance, and elusive. Elusive's the new one. And then they have no collision with other players, so that's just good. You know, nobody can trap you. It's just nice. Immunity to killer instinct and sees the killer's aura nearby. I kind of like that one. It's just a nice little extra thing where Like for instance, you're going against like a Legion, you know, maybe because even with this top thing, you know, there's no unhook notification. So maybe the person gets a little bit far away, you know, and the killer doesn't know where they are. They just Legion smack somebody, and then he can immediately tell, you know, that person right there is probably the person he wants to tunnel. And there's a whole bunch of killers, not just Legion. He's just the first one I thought of. Whole bunch of killers. They can do the same thing, though. This one, very nice. And then a little bit of base kit babysitter, kinda. Except for like the person getting unhooked. I like that. It's nice. You can see if it's safe to heal or not, because a lot of the time that's kind of the issue, especially in like solo queue. You don't know if the killer's coming back to you or not. So do you risk trying to heal? Do you not? Babysitter fixed a lot of that, but it kind of stinks running a perk every single match to prevent somebody from getting tunneled out. You kind of need all 4 perk slots to run some of the really fun builds. So, but yeah, so that's nice. These effects are lost when the affected survivor performs a conspicuous action. That's great. After completing a unique hook, the killers get the following benefits. So this is the incentives thing. This is another thing I was talking about just the other day, actually. I think this is a really good idea. As long as it's not overtuned, because you can very easily overtune this, and it'll be a disaster if it is. Which, for anybody like planning on playing the PTB, it is going to probably be a disaster. So don't hold your hopes too high. You know, just like set them in the dirt somewhere, pat them real good, and just leave. Okay, it's gonna be a mess. It's fine. That's part of life. So. Then one of the incentives is bonus damage for the next generator kick, temporary haste status effect, temporarily reveals survivors that have less or equal hook states to the hooked survivor. So this part is kind of interesting. The bonus damage for the next generator kick, I like that one. That one's good. The haste status effect, as long as that one's not, I mean, obviously same for this top one, but especially haste, because haste is it's like a stealth status effect. You can never tell when the killer or the survivors have it. So it's really hard to judge the distance. So I think short haste effects, but strong, like short but strong, is normally probably better. I like getting a 5% haste boost for like a minute or something is, I think, a bit stronger than like a 15% haste boost for like 15 seconds or something, and depending on what, you know, where you are, I guess. But yeah, so, and then temporarily reveals survivors. That I don't know how to feel about this. I think it's probably good. I'm just not sure. I don't know. I think I just miss old barbecue and chili, which gave like blood point bonus as well. I missed that one. I feel like, I don't know. Okay. I actually think this is probably fine once you consider the fact that survivors get incentives too. I forgot about that, but these effects are slightly lessened for the Blight, the Dark Lord, the Ghoul, the Hillbilly, and the Nurse, which makes sense. You almost have to add special cases for killers that are excessively strong. So I kind of like that they did that. These effects are disabled once all generators are completed, of course. Added new effects that disincentivize tunneling. If a survivor dies before... this is the part I'm not, like... this needs work. If a survivor dies before 6 total hook states, all remaining survivors gain a repair speed bonus for the rest of the trial. I like part of this. Like... a survivor dying really quickly at the beginning of the match ruins a match. 99% of the time, it just ruins it. It's done, you know? And that's a lot of matches in solo queue. So I think 6 total hook states might be too much. Potentially. Just a tiny bit. All remaining survivors gain a repair speed bonus. Obviously, it depends on the repair speed bonus that they get. If it's like a 2% repair speed bonus, it's not gonna matter. Like it's gonna be very minimal if it's super little like that. But if it's like 10%, that's a pretty big change, you know. So we'll just have to, I don't know, have to play this one by ear, because this could go great, it could go very poorly too. If the survivor that was last hooked is sacrificed or killed, generators cannot be regressed or blocked. I don't fully understand what they're wanting this to be. If a survivor has been tunneled out before 6 total hook states and they die, generators just can't regress or block ever again. I don't think that's not a good change. It's kind of bad. It's really quite awful. So I think it's just this is like a hard stop. I play a lot of Souls likes, so there's soft caps on skills and then there's hard caps. So changes like incentives, most incentives would be like soft caps, like they sort of prevent you from doing something. This to me just seems like a hard cap. Like if you tunnel someone out, you just can't regress gens anymore. And I guess the question I have with this is, does that also include things like Ruin? Which automatically regresses gens? But either way, I think this change needs some serious tweaking. I'm sure, I think a lot of people think the same on that one, but added the option to enable or disable these mechanics in custom games. That's great. Updated several survivor and killer perks to account for these changes. I would love to see everyone would love to see the numbers. Me too. And the specific perks and values that are changed for those two are almost necessary. I mean, to judge any of this. I mean, no joke. Elusive status effect. Added a new status effect that silences grunts of pain and suppresses survivor aura, pools of blood, and scratch marks. This is that other part that I said I kind of loved. I kind of love this. For unhooked survivors. Or is it up? Yeah, up here. When a survivor is hooked, their hook status is hidden, and then they gain elusive and immunity to killer instinct, and they see the killer's aura. So all of that combined with this elusive status effect, where they don't have scratch marks, they don't have pools of blood, they can't, their aura can't be read, silences their grunts of pain, like all that stuff. It's fantastic. The survivor there's been so many times when I've tried to help someone who's been actively being tunneled, and I have this idea in my mind where I'm like, and I do it a lot. Sometimes it works, not always though, where I'll leave scratch marks in a different direction than the survivor to try and confuse the killer that's like coming after the survivor, and we split up. The killer can't see us a lot of those times because we're behind a wall or something, and so I leave more scratch marks in a different direction, and they leave scratch marks in a different direction. So he has to choose. He has this 50-50 chance of either finding me or finding them, because I think a lot of the times that's more effective than immediately taking a hit for them. If it doesn't work though, then you can always go and take a hit for them. But I think with this elusive status effect, I think my idea here is a lot stronger on paper, obviously the killer, good killers, like once they're used to this, are going to be like, oh well, there's scratch marks, so I know that's not the unhooked survivor. But they're, with the incentives and stuff, they're probably not going to want to chase the unhooked survivor anyway. So, but I like this. I like this. They should not leave much of a trace for a little bit. The tomes, I'm not a big tomes guy. This part, I actually just hate this change. I do not like any of this. It's, and you can see it here. It's just adding another dash killer, basically. It's like, it's changing Myers into pig, and he's an insta-down pig, sure, but it's fundamentally changing what Myers is. And Myers has always been this like fun, quirky killer that is also terrifying for casual players. For like hyper sweats, sure, you know, not a big deal. But if you're playing solo queue or whatever, and it's always like terrifying to hear that tear up music and then see Myers in the corner of the top window just casually looking at you from 70 years away. So stuff like that, like Myers is always super fun. This fundamentally kind of changes how he plays, and I just don't think it's good. I think it's really bad. I do kind of like the idea of stalker mode and pursuer mode here, where he gets a stalker mode, 4.2 movement speed, undetectable, and can stalk survivors. I like this idea, where he can switch between the two, and it kind of puts him in like a cool, like a cooldown sort of thing. Staggers him for just a second or something. I don't know, like whenever Nurse is exhausted after a blink attack or something, you know, like something like that, so that he can't walk up to somebody and instantly mori them, for instance, but it's still buffing his chase, you know? It's still buffing his chase, it's still giving him these buffs, and it's also buffing his stalk mode, because in tier 2 normally he can't stalk as well because he has a terror radius, you know. But with the stalker mode, it would remove his terror radius and he can still stalk. He's just a little slower, you know. He's actually really slow, but then with pursuer mode, he can go right back to the positive sides where he's really quick and he can vault fast. He has a really long lunge range, break speed, all that stuff, you know. So he's got the good things and the downsides with this just little thing added, where he's got this little stun animation, so he can't just instantly mori people or instantly down people or any of that stuff. I think that by itself it would be a pretty good change for Myers. He doesn't need to be the best killer in the game. He just needs to be fun, and he is fun already. I think this whole thing makes him just cookie cutter. I don't like it. Unlocks slaughtering strike ability. Don't know who made that name. I don't like it either. Not a fan. Hold the power button to charge its ability, reducing movement speed. It's just Pig's Lunge. If you're confused about it, it's literally just Pig's Lunge. I don't like it. Adjusted some of the mechanics of stalking. Remove the limited pool of stock points for a survivor. That's a really big point. Again, fundamentally changing how Myers works. You just don't... You don't play him the same, you know? Just they're going to have to rework all his add-ons too. Reworked his add-ons. Yep, there. Kind of... I know they put a lot of work into this, but I kind of hope I hope a lot of it gets reverted. Because I don't think anybody asked for this. I think a lot of people really enjoy Myers. He's always like... I mean, obviously... either A, you die, or B, you just get a 4 out, you know, most of the time. But it's always like fun to go against him, because you're like, ooh, which add-ons did he bring, or what build's he running, or is he gonna moonwalk me into oblivion? He can still moonwalk you into oblivion, but it's just not gonna be as interesting. activation time of the afterpiece antidote, so they just reverted their change. Increased how long the afterpiece tonic's hindered effects lingers after leaving smoke. Okay. Kind of good. Increase the additional time after added to weakened when injured by a UVX projectile. Okay. Increased movement speed recovery after teleporting. Increased camera vertical range. Added several add-ons. Okay, this is nice. That's nice. You can go for more, which they say in the note down here, I think, but you can go for more like orbitals and orbital type stuff. I think with killers like this, that's always a good idea. Every time I can't play a lot of those killers because not having like full range of motion like irritates me like crazy. So I like the killers that are limited, like Billy. Billy's a big one. You can't look up or down. And the looking side to side is like really like annoying for me, so I don't play Billy. I tried once, did not go well, but it's just like, oof. Yeah, I like this. I like anything that adds range of motion. I like vampire form, slightly reduced cooldown, increase the pillars by 1, reduce the charge movement speed. That's good. Slightly increased slowdown time after casting it. Canceling. So this affects like those people that would hold it and then cancel. And then you just die a lot of time. I mean, that's one of the most boring ways to play. This kind of stops a lot of those plays. I like that. That's good. Wolf form. Increased pounce attack charge time. Increased scent orb spawn time. It's good. Increased movement friction to make flying easier to control. Yeah, so just more basic stuff. When grabbing a survivor on the other side of a vault with Cognate Leap, the survivor is released at the start of the ghoul's vault instead of at the end. That's good. They can't just kidnap you anymore. I think most people are going to be happy anytime Kaneki gets nerfed. As long, you know, as I like Tokyo Ghoul is my favorite anime. People hate the show. I don't like to read manga, so I like the show, but if I read the manga, I would probably hate the anime. I get that fully. I like the show though a whole lot, and so I'm fine as long as Kaneki doesn't get like nerfed into oblivion. I'm fine. The Oni hooking a survivor now spawns more blood orbs. Okay. And updated various perks, but we don't get to see the perks. 30-minute dash killer. That's the. And then there's going to be a lot of comments like this. Plenty of downvotes for hardly any counter argument because I'm right. He's talking about disabling anti-tunnel, anti-camp features in in-game. If you're, I mean, there's debate for this, but if you're in in-game, most of the time, having that stuff would guarantee a 4 out. So like, you're gonna have to work for a lot of that stuff. If a killer gets a 1k, a killer gets a 1k. It's not the end of the world. The survivor still won. So I don't really get the point of this argument, because you're arguing for complete and total destruction. You just want to obliterate the killer's soul. Let him have his 1k. It's not a big deal. It sounds more like a skill issue to me, but I don't know. Yeah, see. I actually don't think this is true. I think this is good for both sides a lot. It's just when you think about it, it's quality of life. These are kind of updates that we should have realistically gotten a long time ago, but we just never did, because up until recently they didn't put much effort into maintaining the game, improving the game in a meaningful way. I think this is good. It's meant for improving enjoyment among the players, and I think obviously games are meant to have you're meant to have fun playing games, not be miserable. So Dead by Daylight has this long history of every second I play and I'm miserable and want to die, but I can't stop playing anyways because some mystery, mysterious force in the background is forcing me to play. I don't even know, but it's good to get away from that. We shouldn't feel miserable for playing the game. So a lot of the times when people get frustrated, I'm just like, take a break. It's not the end of the world. There's a lot of people that are burnt out and know they're burnt out and whatnot, and they still they think it's the end of the world to take a break. It's not. Games aren't meant for you to play in forever. You're meant to take a break and play something else. But yeah. Anyways, that's just my thoughts. But see ya.